Hi guys, it's Connor here at Door 43. Hope you've all had a good weekend. So today's wellbeing theme is around our thoughts, specifically around spotting unhelpful or negative thoughts and how challenging and making changes to the way we think can help improve how we feel. So we know that our thoughts can have a massive influence on how we feel emotionally, physically, and also how we behave, as the interpretations we give to different situations result in different emotions and different physical feelings. So when something happens, we think about it, we interpret it, and then we respond to our interpretation. So a good example would be, imagine you're walking down the street and you see someone you know walking towards you, but then they walk past you without acknowledging you or saying hello. I guess depending on how we think about that situation, we could come away from it feeling and acting quite differently. For example, if I thought, oh, they didn't see me, they must have been distracted, I'd probably brush it off and get on with my day. But if I thought instead, they ignored me on purpose, they don't like me, I'm probably going to struggle to let go of this, and I'd probably feel quite low, worried, or even quite annoyed. Both of these thoughts could be true, but the problem is often when we are feeling low, anxious, upset, overwhelmed, or stressed, we may have more negative thoughts like this, which we may see as fact, even though we don't have all the details about a situation. And actually, they're often just opinions based on one interpretation. Another difficulty is we don't choose to have these types of thoughts. They can be quite involuntary and automatic. So, the first step to tackling this type of unhelpful thinking is getting better at noticing it. This can be quite difficult to start with, as it's not something we're sometimes used to doing. So sometimes keeping a thought diary or a thought journal can be really useful to do this. So, for example, when you are feeling low, sad, or anxious, you could try and write down what the situation was. The more detail, the better, to help you kind of understand what maybe the trigger was for feeling that way. Also, maybe write down how you were feeling at the time, so what emotion you'd attached to that. And I guess importantly, what was going through your mind at the time. So really trying to pinpoint kind of what was the thought that kind of went into my mind in that situation, which, as I said, this can be quite hard to do, and it does take some practice, but it's a really good thing to kind of try and do and be a bit more mindful about when you are feeling a certain way, what type of thoughts you are having. So later on today, I'm going to be posting some information about some common and helpful thinking styles that we all do at times, to help you notice them yourself. Once you have started to notice your unhelpful thoughts and maybe match them to one of the styles, the next stage is beginning to challenge them. This means looking over your unhelpful thoughts in a fair, balanced, logical way to help you try and take a step back from them and create a new thought that is more realistic and helpful for you. So what I'm saying here, it doesn't mean simply thinking more positively. It's about thinking more fairly. So considering both sides and all the possible interpretations before we act on a thought. A little bit like a judge might do in a courtroom. They would consider the evidence for and against before they gave a verdict. So it's trying to do similar for yourself if you're noticing you're having some negative thoughts. So going back to the example I mentioned earlier, a fairer, more balanced thought might be, in that situation, they could have ignored me, but they never have done that before, and we haven't fell out recently, so it's more likely they were distracted or they didn't see me. Maybe I'll send them a message later to check in. So I guess with that, that's considering both sides. It's trying to be fair. It's not overly positive. They could have ignored me, but the facts are that they haven't before, and we haven't fell out. So chances are they probably are distracted. And actually, I'll check in with them just to see how things are, rather than maybe ruminating or worrying about it. So this is something, as I said, that can take a lot of practice. It can sometimes be helpful to have someone to support you and, helping you notice your thoughts and maybe learning how to challenge them a bit. For example, the wellbeing workers can help with this type of thing, or there's some really good apps out there that kind of look at this, or if you there's different guides as well you can find online um, to help you kind of understand more about the way you think about things and your thoughts. But as I said, it can be a really great way to tackle any kind of low mood, anxiety, or stress that you might be experiencing. So, finally, today, I will be posting some useful questions that you can use to ask yourself when you have noticed any unhelpful thoughts that you're having. So, hopefully, the questions will be useful to help you challenge those thoughts. So things you can use to go, kind of look at them. For example, would I say the same to a friend in that situation? Well, if the answer is no, it might mean that we need to kind of think, is there another side to this? Am I being fair to myself? So yeah, ultimately those questions might help you develop your thoughts into more fairer, kinder, and more balanced thoughts. So I hope you all have a good day, and I shall speak to you soon.